All right, let's cut through all the noise and get you started with modern Python. Seriously, we're going to go from absolute zero to writing your very first program, and I promise you, it's so much easier than you think. Let's dive in. So, have you ever had this happen? You decide you're going to learn to code. You're fired up, you're ready to go, and then you're just slammed into a wall. A giant wall made of confusing installations, weird configurations, and error messages that make no sense. If you've ever felt like quitting before you even wrote one line of code, trust me, you are not alone. I mean, back in the day, and not even that long ago, getting started was a real chore. You had to manually install Python itself, then you had to mess with these things called environment paths, hunt down all your tools, pick a code editor. You could literally spend a whole week just fighting with your computer to get to the point where you could write "Hello World." It was a huge barrier to entry, but that's all changed. And this is the solution. It's called Anaconda. The best way to think of it is as the ultimate Python starter pack. It takes all those separate, complicated pieces, the thing that runs your code, the tool that manages your libraries, all the essentials, and it bundles them all into one single, simple installation. It is an absolute game changer. So remember that long, painful list of steps? Well, today, it looks like this. You download one thing, you click Next, Next, Finish, and you start coding. That's it. We just gone from a week of potential hair-pulling frustration to maybe 5 minutes. That is the power of a modern setup. And with that, you are ready for your first big victory. This is the rite of passage for literally every programmer on the planet. Firing up your new tools and typing print hello world. It might seem like a small thing, but believe me, this is the exact moment you officially become a coder. So congratulations. Okay, so now that you're coding, there are really two main ways you'll do it. First, you've got the terminal. Think of it like a scratch pad. It's awesome for trying out a quick command, but as soon as you close that window, poof, your work is gone. On the other hand, you have a code file, an actual .py file. This saves your work so you can build real programs you can run over and over. But what if you need something in between those two? This is where a third way becomes absolutely crucial. Imagine you're working with a huge amount of data, and running one piece of your code takes 4 hours to complete. In a normal code file, if you want to test the very next line of code, guess what? You have to run that 4-hour process all over again. It's awful. But a tool called a Jupyter Notebook lets you run your code in these independent little chunks, or cells. So you run the 4-hour part once, and then you can test everything after it instantly. It can save you an unbelievable amount of time. Okay, so Anaconda makes things ridiculously simple. But what if you're on a Chromebook or a computer from work where you're not allowed to install software? What if you have, quite literally, zero time or ability to set anything up? Is there a way to start coding, like right now? You bet there is. The answer is in the cloud. With a tool like Google Colab, it is a full-blown Python environment with that same powerful notebook style we just talked about. And it runs completely inside your web browser, nothing to install. And the best part? It gives you free access to some seriously powerful hardware, like GPUs, which are critical for things like AI and machine learning. So now, you're off to the races. You're building amazing things, you've got a project over here analyzing some data, another one over there building a website, and pretty soon you run into a brand new problem. Your projects start messing with each other. Here's how it happens. Let's say Project A needs version 1.0 of a certain library to function. But your new, shiny Project B, well, it needs version 2.0 of that same library. The moment you install version 2.0 for Project B, bam, you've just broken Project A. This is called a dependency conflict, and it can be a total nightmare to sort out. The solution is actually really clever. It's called virtual environments. The best way to picture them is as a separate, clean little sandbox for each of your projects. Project A gets its own sandbox with its own toys, all its specific libraries, and Project B gets a completely different sandbox. They live in their own little worlds, so they can never, ever interfere with each other. This is how the pros manage their work. All right, we've solved the setup headache, and we've stopped our projects from fighting. But there's one more problem we need to talk about, and this one is sneaky. These are the silent bugs. The ones that don't crash your program right away, but they cause all sorts of weird, unpredictable problems later on. And they usually boil down to something called data types. Just take a look at this. On the left is kind of the old way in Python. You make a variable called name, and you put a name in it, a string. Then later, you accidentally put a number into that same variable. Old Python doesn't say a word. The bug is now hiding in your code, just waiting to cause chaos. But look at the right side. This is modern Python. We declare upfront that name has to be a string, using that little :str. Now, if you try to put a number in there, your code editor immediately starts yelling at you. It finds the bug for you before you even hit run. So why is this so important? Because it lets you write fundamentally smarter and safer code. You catch bugs the instant you type them, and it makes your code way easier for you and for others to understand. This isn't just some neat little trick. This is now the standard for serious AI and data science development. So let's just recap this whole journey. We started with the old, confusing mess of a setup. The solution? Anaconda. Made it simple. We got our first victory with Hello World. Then we hit a new challenge, conflicting projects. And our power-up was virtual environments. And then we faced the final boss, those silent hidden bugs. And we won, because modern static typing exposed them instantly. You've just gone through a masterclass in modern Python setup. Look, the path to getting started with Python has truly never been clearer or easier. The tools are simpler, they're way more powerful, and they're much safer than they've ever been before. All those old roadblocks that used to stop people, they're gone. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build first?